Psychedelics are illegal not because a loving government is concerned that you may jump out of a third-story window. Psychedelics are illegal because they dissolve opinion structures and culturally laid down models of behavior and information processing. They open you up to the possibility that everything you know is wrong.
We don't need new laws that control our consciousness and rigidly place it in a prison.
Cognitive liberty. The fact that as adults, if we're not hurting anybody else, we should have the right to explore the contours of our own consciousness without any mediation or legislation on the part of somebody else.
Reject authority. Authority is a lie.
Or is it perception?
Information is power, but we have to seize the opportunity.
Welcome back. Part 2 of the ayahuasca journey.
We are not interested in being regulated by the state, manipulated
just to mention
by the state.
the podcast, just to keep it going, keep it afloat, things like that. Just if you want to support, please just go to iTunes. If you have iTunes, just log in there, give me a nice 5-star rating, leave a little review. It really tremendously helps the podcast grow. And, if the podcast grows and we get more listeners and more people, I'll be able to have bigger guests on and do just really cool things that I want to do. Provide you guys with some really awesome content. I love this stuff. It's my passion, so I want to put everything I have into it. And if you really love the show, you can go to my website, mikebrank.com. I have a Patreon link there. Patreon is a donation service, so you can go there and you can donate. And there's all kinds of rewards for your people if they donate. Like if you donate $1 or $5 or $10, you get different things, different levels of rewards. So that's it. Just want to get that stuff out of the way before we dive in deep. And that's it. Basically, just if you like the show, just show me some love, show me some support, leave a rating, a review on iTunes, subscribe, that sort of stuff. Share it with your friends, retweet, like, favorite, all that stuff. That's really all I ask. And let's just make this thing grow, and let's turn it into something awesome that I know that could serve a good purpose. We oftentimes, there's a lot of different kinds of strategies, I guess, that people have to kind of try and benefit the world. This is mine, so support my strategy. Appreciate it very much. Okay, love you all. Thank you so much. Excellent. So, where we last left off, we had just arrived to the beautiful, the wonderful, the majestic Temple of the Way of Light. Ayahuasca Retreat Center Facility. What an amazing place, really. Just absolutely. I can't say enough about this place. So we had hiked quite a bit, and it was pretty hot, and we have our rain boots on. Everyone's getting all muddy and hiking through the muck. And finally we get there, and there's this little bridge, and I kind of knew we were getting close because I started to see kind of like more well-groomed, or not well-groomed, but just like plants that were like really nice and beautiful, and flowers. And the temple grounds, they have just amazing plants and flowers and all kinds of beautiful nature all around there. So it was cool, and we got there, and there's this little bridge, and you kind of walk over the bridge, and everybody was there to greet us, to say hello. So all the shamans, the maestras and the maestros and the facilitators were all there to greet us. And it was nice. It was very nice. And I noticed when I was walking in, one of the maestras, one of the shamans, she kind of like gave me a smirk, and I don't know, I felt like kind of a connection there. Like she kind of was like, "Oh, welcome," you know. There's such amazing, beautiful people, the shamans they have there, and the Temple of the Way of Light for the ceremonies that we were attending. They have 5 shamans that work there, and 5 shamans that attend to you and to heal to you. And there are 3 women and 2 men, which is amazing, really. I mean, I know some places you probably go to, maybe they only have 1, you know, they have 1 shaman or 2. I mean, this place you have 5. It's pretty incredible. Everything about this place is really actually incredible. I mean, I feel so grateful. I feel so fortunate. You know, as in the last episode, I talked about my journey, how I found out about ayahuasca, what led me to do it, and then how I booked this other retreat and then got a bad feeling, canceled, and then saw that there was magically a spot opened up at the Temple of the Way of Light, and I was able to reserve that spot. I just felt so fortunate and grateful, and I don't know, I guess also kind of like maybe there was some kind of cosmic synchronicity or something happening, you know? The Temple of the Way of Light, I'm just going to spend a little bit of time just talking about the Temple of the Way of Light. Now, it's called the Temple of the Way of Light, but it's not like a religious place or anything like that. It's, you know, it's not about there's no like dogma or anything involving that kind of stuff. You know, I'm not a religious person, but I am kind of I guess it sounds cliche. You hear it all the time. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. But I am. I mean, I believe in something. I believe in an energy. I believe in something exists. I just don't know exactly what it is. I might have a vague idea. Maybe I experienced something in one of the ceremonies that gave me a clue. But I'll save that for a later episode. But anyway, there's no like religious dogma. There's no, you know, it's not like a church or anything like that. What it is an amazing archaic kind of revival. Like Terence McKenna talks about this archaic revival. And I've been thinking about this. It's like however history has progressed, whatever has happened for a reason. And I feel like now, like we have this amazing ability now, and I hope the future turns out to be this way. It's a call back to nature, but using kind of the information, the technology that we've come to learn, the knowledge that we've acquired over the years, to integrate back into natural, traditional ways. And the Temple of the Way of Light really embodies this. You know, they really take all of the knowledge that they can from all different parts of life and mesh it together while honoring and respecting traditional Shipibo, shamanistic ayahuasqueros and their healing abilities. And the place is really an ethical, credible, just really serious, but also playful, fun, healing facility, you know? It's a healing facility. And, you know, one of the realizations that I had from this trip, no pun intended, was that it was actually not a trip. I mean, ayahuasca has a psychedelic component to it, but it's so much more. To call ayahuasca a drug or a psychedelic, or to say like, oh, I'm going to go do ayahuasca or something like that, is disrespectful and inaccurate. And I understand that now. You know, it's not something that you would take recreational in a recreational setting to trip. And if it's hard for me. I mean, like, people will say that because maybe they don't have an understanding of it, but it's okay. They will gain an understanding of it if they pursue it further. But what it is it is a medicine. It is a medicine made from plants. It is a natural plant medicine, and it's a healing agent. And the ayahuasqueros, the maestros that work there, they have a real deep knowledge of all the plants that are around that they work with, of ayahuasca. And they're like Leonard Bernstein, or something, like a famous, like, powerful composer, like composing like an orchestra. They have that kind of quality about them, but they also have like the meticulous kind of like surgical detail of a physician and the knowledge of a physician, the knowledge that the doctor would have. It's this amazing combination of like a scientific medical dance that they embody. But the Temple of the Way of Light is such an amazing place. I can't tout it enough. I feel so fortunate to have gone there and to have had the experience there for my first time, especially. And I wish to go back there. In fact, I wish I was still there now. It's really, really remarkable. I mean, just the things that they're doing there, the things that they're involved in. I mean, this is not just a place to go to just drink ayahuasca and just have like a crazy experience. I mean, maybe that happened to some people that went there. Maybe that's what they got out of it. But this is not just a singular entity. This is a whole. This is a complete vision that is like an octopus with like tentacles reaching out into all different directions. I mean, they're partnering and participating with the Ayahuasca Defense Fund, the ICERS organization, which is doing tremendous things. I mean, I couldn't be more happy to know about this place. The ICERS, which stands for shit. Well, it stands for something. I'll remember it in a little bit. But they're basically an organization that is helping to legitimize the medicinal, holistic healing use of ayahuasca, to kind of educate, to provide information and statistics and data to governments and basically people that don't really understand what this thing is, what ayahuasca is. The people that would classify this as a Schedule I drug and things like that. So this organization, the ICERS organization, is doing tremendous work. I mean, they're a real strong warrior out on the forefront, fighting for good. It's ICERS stands for the International Center for Ethnobotanical Education, Research, and Service. So like kind of like a MAPS almost. It's like the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. I talk about them a lot, and but this is another place that now you're going to hear me talking about quite a bit. And I'm participating in their study because they're studying and they're promoting public policy basically based on these kinds of medicinal plant medicines. So they're trying to kind of influence change, work through the system. So I think they accept like donations and things like that. So I would highly recommend going to check them out. It's at ICEERS.org, ICERS, and they're just one of those groups that's just, like I tip my hat to them. Like they're out there, they're fighting for a good cause, and they're trying to get ayahuasca approved and legitimized and provide provide information to people who don't necessarily know how to understand what ayahuasca is, because these people are not going to participate in ayahuasca ceremonies. And, these governing bodies and things like that, they only understand things in data and facts and quantifiable, measurable kinds of ways. And unfortunately, a lot of times there's reasons that are more nefarious for their outlawing of such substances. And I talk about this in a lot of other episodes. And that's one of the main things that this podcast is about, fighting for our right for cognitive liberty. I think that it's really important to provide all the information and the facts to show how ayahuasca, marijuana, MDMA, all these kinds of substances, medicines, natural plant healers can be used in a positive way. We can say, look at these stats, look at what it's doing, And I mentioned this also on a previous episode about how, a way in is also curing PTSD. For a lot of those people who are on the right, who are the military supporting people and things like that, they would be more open to hearing about how soldiers could be healed or veterans could be healed from this sort of thing. So the wonderful thing about these substances, these medicines, is that there's so many positive benefits they can have for people if used in a responsible and respectable way. And this organization, ICERS, is fighting for that. I believe that they are fighting for cognitive liberty. I'm proud to support them and recommend them. And that's what we need. That this is what we need in this society that we have now that is sick, a culture that is sick. Everybody from birth to, people need healing. And there's different ways that we can go about doing that. And one of the ways is to work within the system, propose legislation, change policy, influence people. And that's really good. And I'm really glad that those people are out there doing that. So go check them out. ICERS.org. Amazing. Fighting for cognitive liberty, fighting for our moral right to explore the contours of our own consciousness, as Jason Silva says in the intro music of this episode, without any mediation or legislation on the part of somebody else. With, obviously, the benefits of healing in mind, because this is a tremendous healing plant. So the Temple of the Way of Light is involved in providing a place for these organizations to flourish. And the facility itself is amazing. It is. This place is what they're doing over there. The compounds that they've created, the centers that they have, the facility. It's like a Xavier's school for the gifted. It's like X-Men. It's like a mutant academy, almost. It's like a university where people can go. And they can get all kinds of knowledge by working with this plant medicine, by training with these master shamans, 5 master shamans, over just a short period of time. But also the temple offers these longer periods of time. They have the 12-day retreats. They have the month-long integrations. They have 3-month-long work study programs where you can go and exchange your work for for learning and participating in things there. They have amazing permaculture and outreach programs where they're giving back to all the communities, which is so important. Education, just amazing opportunities to provide for the people who live there, the indigenous population, the people who are native to that land that live there. Nothing leaves the Temple of the Way of Light. There's no, they don't produce waste, which is incredible. It's I can't begin to, it's just almost like words aren't doing it justice. It's just one of these places that is completely self-sustainable. And I'd never seen anything like it before. They have, compost toilets and just everything that is had there. Even when you're, when you're eating, the food is incredible. I'll talk about that too. But even when you're eating, I mean, where you throw out your food and the bones for the animals, for the dogs and things like that, everything gets used. Everything is sustainable, ecological, just harmonious with nature. I think it's a really beautiful thing. And the staff, I mean, just the people that they have there. They're so clear of mind. They're so tuned in. They approach every single person with an individual care and love, and there's a real serious level of attention that's given. I mean, it's not like never, I don't think anybody that was there on my retreat like ever felt like left out or alone. I feel like the facilitators that we had and the people that were there, everybody from the cooks to the shamans to the yoga instructor, every single person there really knew your name. I mean, they knew your name, obviously. They got to know you. They gave you specialized, appropriate care and treatment. They always made themselves available for you if you wanted to talk privately about something. And they really just I mean, I don't think I've ever been in a place with so much care and attention and love and compassion and integrity. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. And you can feel it. The energy is just radiating out of these people. I mean, they are such amazing individuals. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I mean, I feel absolutely so grateful for, once again, just being in the group that I was with, the people I was with. And I have to say, and I will mention her by name because I feel like she deserves credit where credit is due. Dr. Tanya Maté, Gabor Maté, famous physician, New York Times bestseller, addiction specialist, Gabor Maté. This guy is a fantastic individual, genius as far as I'm concerned, and real pioneer in the space of healing medicines and addiction treatment and therapy. And I'm just starting to crack into his work. I have heard of him, but I'm just starting to crack into his work. And I got to say, if you're not familiar with Gabor Maté, you need to be, because this guy is really he really gets it. And he's blowing my mind. I'm reading one of his books right now, In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, Battle with Addiction, New York Times bestseller, amazing book. So we were really, really fortunate to have his daughter-in-law, Dr. Tanya Maté, as a guest facilitator at the Temple of the Way of Light. And it was my understanding that she was there to kind of pioneer a new approach to the ayahuasca ceremony, to the ayahuasca experience. That this time around, that we would be the first group of people that would have a heavy focus on the integration aspect of ayahuasca. Now, what does that mean? What does the integration aspect mean? That's a good question, because people have been asking me that, and I've been telling them. But this is so important because, as I said before, this goes way beyond just drinking ayahuasca and tripping. I mean, this is a multi-pronged approach. This is a multifaceted, futuristic kind of take on things, because it's not isolated. And just like Gabor Maté's work, the reflection of his work is shown in this kind of approach. It is a whole approach. We're not just focusing on the mind. We're not just focusing on the heart, the lungs, the whatever. We're focusing on the entire human being, everything. And so the Temple of the Way of Light nails it, and they're doing it with everything, as I mentioned. And this doctor, Dr. Tanya Maté, blew me away. absolutely blew me away. I mean, so intelligent, so thoughtful, so attentive. Just really, we couldn't have had anybody better. I mean, it was like, a miracle that that she was there. I was really impressed, very impressed. I mean, the level of professionalism and just the logistics, the way that everything was handled and her approach was so fitting. Everything meshed and fit together. I think she had worked with the temple previously, but I think this was the first time that she was kind of leading a workshop. Now, the integration aspect of it, what I was saying is, this is not an isolated incident. We're not just going there and drinking ayahuasca and then forget, whatever. This is drinking ayahuasca, dealing with what and then processing it afterwards, so you can have a better understanding of what happened, talk about it and share with other people. And that's what we did. I think that was what separated us from other retreats, is that we actually sat around in a group every day and we talked about our experiences after ceremony. Each person voluntarily got to share what they experienced. And, this amazing, intelligent, doctor that we had there was able to really help guide us in such an amazing way that I really admire and respect, because it's sometimes hard for me. I feel like I get frustrated and I'll, try and explain something to someone. I'll be like, what's wrong with you? Like, why don't you understand this? Like, oh, this is your problem. Clearly, like, duh, don't you see that, idiot? But she's really like good at kind of questioning and leading you down the path that to discover the thing on your own. We'll question, well, how did that make you feel? And, where did you think that came from? And, did you ever think about it like this and that? And I just thought it was absolutely amazing. I mean, we were so blessed to have her there. She was tremendous. She was like one of the shamans. And, of course, the other facilitators, I don't know if they want me to necessarily mention them by name, but they were amazing as well. So I'm not going to mention them by name, but they were absolutely incredible as well. So no, So it was just phenomenal that we were able to have that, and phenomenal that the temple provides that. It's just I can't say it enough. It's just, like I said again, it's not just about drinking ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is one aspect of it, but it's the ayahuasca. It's the shamans who sing the Iquitos, which is the songs they sing during ceremony for healing. They're songs that are they get from the plants. They get these songs from the plants and they sing them, to us. And a lot of the times what I should say is, traditionally, I think shamans were the ones that drank the ayahuasca, and the people did, or the subject, whatever you want to call it, is the other person for healing didn't drink the ayahuasca. Only the shaman would drink the ayahuasca, and the shaman would sing the Iquitos, and they would sing it to the person. And so the Iquitos is really something that they hold on to as being this tremendous healing energy, this song spirit that they sing, and it's really powerful. It is really powerful. So this place, I mean, it just blew my mind. I mean, right from the get-go. It's just a top-of-the-line place, just with amazing master healers and plant medicines and just incredible stuff. And I was just like, I was just blown away. So I'll get to talking more about... I mean, if you want to find out more about kind of like, the Shipibo healers and the people like that, I mean, you can go and you can look that up. I think it's worth looking up. The facility, the work they're doing at the Temple of the Way of Light is absolutely incredibly amazing. I mean, this, X-Men facility that they have there, this institute for, medical kind of institute that they have there is incredible. And I really think that this is really the future. I mean, this is like something that's really mind-blowing. So basically, we get there. I'm blown away. I'm experiencing all this stuff. We start talking to, I think the first day they had told us that we're going to sit in a group and we're going to do, we had lunch. Lunch was great. I mean, the food was tremendous the whole time. I know last episode I was complaining, but I had kind of gotten over that, and they just made this amazing food. It was all veggies, lean, like fish, chicken. It was just phenomenal food. So the first day we get there, and we're gonna, sit down, and we're gonna sit with the shamans and the facilitators. Everybody's gonna sit together, and we're gonna do a group kind of sharing. They're gonna introduce themselves to us, and we're gonna introduce ourselves to them. And the point of this is basically to just kind of tell them why we're here, and what we're doing, why are we here, and what do we need, what do we come seeking. So they have a better understanding of how to heal us. Similar to the way that you would go to a doctor and you would say, well, what bothers you? And you would tell him, and he would prescribe you something. So that's exactly what we did. So we sat down. We were all met in the Maloka, that big, it's kind of circular pyramid structure. And I was sitting right at the top. I think they had organized our names, and they said, this is going to be the order that you guys are going to be sitting in. This is going to be the order of sitting for the ceremonies and for everything. So we've designed it in this way, and that's the way it is. And I asked them later on, I was like, how did you guys come up with this order? Was it like alphabetical or something, or who registered, or I don't know what it was. They were just like, no, just intuition. We just had a feeling. We just would place certain people next to each other, and that's what we did. So I was number one. I was in the first spot. So I was sitting at the top, and I was sitting right next to one of the maestras, that the one that greeted me, actually, the first one to greet me and smiled and smirked at me when I walked in, across the bridge. And she was knitting this awesome like Shipibo pattern on this tapestry while we were sitting. I guess no time to waste, always working. But anyway, they introduced ourselves, and they speak traditional Shipibo, so the Shipibo had to be translated into Spanish. Then the Spanish got translated into English. So it was a little process there, but we all sat and we learned and we listened. And then it was our turn to go. And since I was first, so they were like, hey, let's kick it off. Mike, number one, go. Why are you here? Like, why am I here? Oh, well, okay. And I just do what I normally do. I mean, I'm not like, this is who I am, and I'm just going to say why I'm here. I'm not like really worried. Look, I traveled all the way to Peru. I spent all this money. I'm all the way here. I'm 3 hours deep into the Amazon jungle rainforest. I mean, I'm not going to fuck around. I'm not going to like pussyfoot on like why I'm here. Like, oh, well, I don't know. I just want to have like I was like, look, I'm here because I'm fucking messed up. I suffer from extreme chronic depression. I have severe ADD. I can't focus. I can't concentrate. I feel like life is meaningless. I fucking hate everybody. I walk around aimlessly. I can't hold a job. I just feel like there's no purpose and no point to anything. I just laid it all out on the line. Everything. I just said exactly why I was there. I'm suffering from all these things. I just feel shitty, and I can never keep consistent with things that I know that's good for me, but I always wind up quitting dieting and working out and just all kinds of things I know could benefit. So I just talk them, maybe for like a couple minutes or whatever. And I kind of got the vibe that like everyone was kind of just like, whoa, holy shit. Like, and in fact, multiple people said to me after the sharing aspect, multiple people came up to me and said like, hey man, thanks for laying it all out there. You really set the tone. Because I guess apparently what I did was by saying that, by opening up so, by being so vulnerable and honest, that it like encouraged other people to be that way as well. So after I went, everybody else kind of opened up, and I feel really happy about that. I feel really like proud that I was able to like do that, you know? I mean, otherwise, like, who knows? I mean, maybe people wouldn't have said why they were really there or had been really honest. So I hope that I could have helped, and I hope that made some kind of difference. And in fact, I know it did, because a few people had mentioned, you know, privately and publicly that was a big moment for them, for me being the first one to start the sharing and open up and talk about how messed up and fucked up I am. So that was cool. So I felt good about that. And like I said, I was just being me. I wasn't really, I wasn't like, well, I'm going to really get this thing started here. You know, give me some credit. You know, I just was being me. I'm just being honest. I just want to be as honest as possible. So anyway, so we did that, and it was cool, and then we go, and I think we had dinner a little while after, and dinner was amazing. And you know, the thing about the jungle is that it's like, and the thing about the Temple of the Way of Light is like, this is a fucking great place that it's, you know, like I mentioned before, sustainable and ecological and friendly and harmonious with nature and everything. That when the sun goes down, I mean, the sun goes down. That's it. It's just, there's no lights, there's no electricity. It's over. Go to bed. You know, it's like, so it's kind of nice, actually. It's kind of nice kind of waking up when the sun comes up and going to sleep when it goes down. It's pretty cool. And the night sky was really nice for a lot of the nights there. I mean, the stars are out. I just love, I'm a big sucker for a good night sky. I can't get over it. And that's something that you just don't get to see here in New York. You have all these fucking shit steel buildings and everything. I mean, it really gets in the way of connecting with something bigger than yourself. You know, a lot of the times I look at the night sky and I just think, wow, like, what the fuck? This is crazy. What's out there, you know? And I love that feeling, that sense of magic and wonder that you get from looking at a starry night, if you will. So it was really nice. It was really cool. Everybody had little, we went back to our little tambos, their little huts. And, you know, you get your bed in there, and you got your toilet in there, and you got your mosquito net in there, and they got a little table and a chair, and there's a fucking hammock in there. I'm like, this is awesome. Got a hammock in here, got a little kerosene lantern, got a table. I took out my art supplies, my notebooks. I brought these paint markers and everything because I knew that I would want to kind of, you know, paint something or draw something, and I'm glad I did, because a lot of the times the ceremonies that we experienced were just too much. I couldn't write them in words, so I was able to draw and paint something. So we had dinner. We go back to our tambos. You know, I'm looking at the night sky, all the jungle noises. I mean, the place. It's just, I'm so happy to be there. It's great. Next morning, we got to be up. We get a schedule of kind of daily events. So next morning, we have to be up. We have to go to the maestra's casa. Basically the shaman's house, their little house / like laboratory, you know. It's like they have these little quarters where they sleep, and then they have like a little kind of, I guess the best way to describe it would be like a laboratory. I mean, it's a huge like plant medicine laboratory. They're debating with each other. They're talking like, oh, well, what about this? What about that? Okay. They're like gathering plants, walking around the jungle, gathering plants, putting them in baskets, bringing them back, you know, mashing things up, mixing things, making all kinds of elixirs and potions and stuff. It was unbelievable. So we had to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning for something called a vomitivo. Yeah. I mean, automatically, I think everybody was like, wait a second, what are we doing? Like, what is this? A lot of people were like very resistant to this idea. They were like, oh, we didn't see that in the fine print or whatever in the pamphlet. But basically what it was we all got there, 20 of us or so, and we lined up. And the idea was to, correct me, I don't know if I'm exactly explaining it in the correct way, but I think it was like, so we drink this like warm like lemongrass tea out of a bowl, and then they have these buckets of water that are positioned behind us, and there's 3 of them, so 3 people go at a time. The rest of us are just waiting in line, like almost in like a dugout, kind of like a bench, like an open baseball dugout, like without the, you know, the wall or whatever behind you. It's just like a little bench. Everyone's sitting on the bench waiting. And I kind of wanted to make it fun. I wanted to make it like, it looked like it was going to suck. So I wanted to make it fun. I made it like a team event, like a sporting event, right? So basically what it was 3 people would go up at a time, and you would get this warm bowl of lemongrass tea, and you would chug it as fast as you could. And the point was that it would just, it would go in, and it would it's supposed to cleanse and clear your system out. I guess this is to get you in more preparation to be more open for the ayahuasca ceremonies. So then, after you drink the lemongrass tea, you're supposed to reach behind you with the bowl, the empty bowl, and scoop up water, fill it up to the top, and then drink that water as fast as you can. And then fill it up again, and drink again, and then fill it up again, and drink again. And the whole point was, you're supposed to drink as many you're just supposed to drink bowls of water until you feel like you physically can't drink bowls of water anymore. Like, it hurts because your body is so filled up with water. You physically feel like, I can't go any further. And at that point, you must drink more bowls of water until you projectile vomit. It was a fucking crazy experience. I'm sitting there. I wasn't the first one to go. I think I was like maybe second to go or something. So I'm sitting there, and I'm standing there, and I'm watching these 3 people these 3 brave souls who went up first. And there's people that are looking on. Some of them are nervous and they're worried, and some of them are like laughing, and I'm laughing. I'm like, this is crazy. So I'm like cheering them on. I'm like, come on, let's go. And then I start narrating like the experience like it's a baseball game. I'm like, oh, here he goes, taking another one down. Oh boy, like look at that vomit come out. Holy cow. See ya. Another vomit for, So I'm having fun with it. I'm like, that's, I guess, my way of dealing with this crazy experience that we're going through. And so then I had to go up, and it was me and 2 other people, and oh my God, I mean, this is just the weirdest sensation that you'll ever feel in your entire life. Just to be completely full of water after I chugged like 3 bowls of water. I'm like, I felt like the feeling was like a kind of this weird, like maybe almost suffocating kind of feeling and bloatedness. And then to force myself to drink more water was one of the most uncomfortable feelings I've ever had. But I did it. I forced it. Actually, before I went up, one of the girls said, "Don't think, just drink." I said, "Okay." And I just projectile vomited 3 or 4 times, and then the shaman says, "Okay, you're good. You can go. You're good." And but I didn't go because there was a girl next to me who was struggling, a woman next to me who was struggling, and she, was kind of tearing up, and she couldn't really go through with it, and she was, "Oh, this hurts," and it does. It was hard. I mean, it was not fun. It was horrible. But I stayed there, and I said to her, I was like, come on, we can do this, and I scooped up another bowl of water. I was like, come on, we can do this. If it makes you feel any better, I just shit my pants. So just know that. And she starts laughing. And I'd like to think I helped her get through it. She eventually got through it. And I wasn't lying. I actually did squirt a little turn out. I went to the bathroom afterwards. I mean, Jesus. So that was a hell of an experience. And that cleaned us out even further. That opened us up even further. That prepared us for what would be our first ceremony, which was that night. And yeah, so flash forward to 8 p.m. ceremony time. Everyone's in the Maloka. We arrive. It's dark. It's night. You have to have your headlamps. Everybody has the headlamp they're walking around with because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see. And I arrive. I see the number 1, first position. All the 20 kind of mattresses, I guess that I would call them. They're like thin mattresses, thin mattress pads on the floor in a circular around the Maloka in a circle. And in the center, there were the mattress pads for the shamans and the facilitators. So the doctor and the other facilitator would sit there, and the shamans were there. And basically, so you have your little mat, and then you have a little puke bucket in front of the mat, and then you have an ashtray, and then you have this stuff called pusanga. It's like a flower water that's specially made for you. And the shamans, they use it in ceremony. And so everybody's there. We're all set up, comfortable clothing and whatnot. And, it's just the anticipation is at this point. I mean, it's like, all right, now we're finally fucking here. Like, I'm going to drink this stuff. And I remember from hearing about ayahuasca, like I said, it was hard to suppress the expectations because I've just heard so much. But I remember hearing, I think it might have been from Graham Hancock, who was like, this is the most vile, disgusting thing that you could ever imagine, drinking. And I just remember just being like, all right, I'm going to be prepared for that. I'm going to be prepared to drink this just vile, toxic, just sewage water or whatever, like whatever like however bad it tastes, I'm prepared. I'm prepared for the horribleness of it. So they called me up. I was the first one to go up and sit down and drink. And the first night, the first ceremony, this is the great thing about the Temple of the Way of Light, is they really take care of you. They really do. And so they gave us a shot glass size, like kind of a small introduction to the ayahuasca. This is the first night. This will be the introduction. So I take the shot and I drink it down in, I think, one gulp. And I remember going, oh, that's not bad. Huh. That's actually really not bad. Huh. I think I'm going to be okay. Like I could drink this. There's no problem. Wow. That was great. That wasn't bad at all. Boy, was I wrong. Yeah. The more and more you drink, the more and more you dread drinking it. The taste, I don't know, something happens in your mind. It's just, I remember by the fourth and fifth ceremony, I was like just drinking, like the thought of just drinking it was like making me nauseous almost to the point I was throwing up. But that first night I was like, cool. Yeah, totally, dude. Let's do this. So like what we were instructed to do, and the reason why we were there, and like I said, like the purpose of being there was the ayahuasca healing with the integration aspect into it. So we had been instructed to kind of come up with these intentions that we would want for the ceremony. So like, why are you here, Mike? And then I told my reason why I was here. So for me, it was like, okay, well, my intention is like, I want to find out some kind of meaning in my life, some kind of purpose, some kind of, I want to have some kind of better understanding of like where my anger and like my ADD and depression comes from, so I can, because ayahuasca, like I think a lot of people have a misconception that you just drink ayahuasca and then all of a sudden just magically you're just like, oh, I'm not depressed anymore, or like, oh, I'm not crazy anymore, or like, oh, I don't want to kill people anymore. It's like, it's not like a magic potion. And people talk about like, friends have asked me like, well, did you puke? Did you get sick? And that's not necessarily the right kind of like context. It's, yes, you will purge, but that's a necessary component of it. Yes, you will have challenging experiences, but they're not bad trips. It's a different kind of way of understanding this, and something that I kind of learned from being there and from experiencing it. And I think that's really the only way. I mean, if you're curious about this at all, and you want to experience it, I mean, learning about it and finding out about it from other people is not enough. You got to go and experience it for yourself. And I think that everybody could benefit from this sort of thing. Everybody could benefit from it. So the first night, my intention was, I think it was like, show me why I am here, or something like that. So it was just a small dose, and we got like an introduction, and I had seen like, I had seen some visions, but the interesting thing was I felt a very like mild effect the first night. And I think I remember talking to some people and like the next day, and they were like, hey, did you get high last night or what? And I was just like, no, I didn't I wouldn't really categorize it in that way, but I did have like an effect. I did have an experience. So I got a little bit out of the first ceremony. I think I got a good sense of the healing effects and the nature of the ayahuasca. You know, it's like it's not like mushrooms, but like I feel like if I were to describe it like something, the closest relative would be mushrooms. And I believe that psilocybin mushrooms and dimethyltryptamine, the molecules are very similar. I remember seeing that somewhere, like Arrowhead or something like that. So it felt it felt very similar to that, but not quite. It was, you know, same, but different. So it was pretty cool. The first ceremony opened up, and it's amazing how it opens up. So I go up, I drink, then I go back to my mat, and I sit in the lotus position, you know, yoga kind of position, and I'm sitting there, and I watch the next person go, and then the next person go, and 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 everybody goes up and drink. And after everybody drinks, they remove all the lighting from the room. All the kerosene lanterns are picked up by the guy who guards the door, who, if you need to use the bathroom, you let him know, and he kind of makes sure that everybody's okay, and they get to be guided to where they need to be guided to. So they remove all the lanterns from the room, and now we're just sitting around in a pitch black, dark maloka waiting. And the shamans, they smoke tobacco. And tobacco is a very revered and respected plant. And the kind of tobacco they smoke is nicotine rustica. It's a different kind of tobacco. It's called mupacho. And I love this stuff. I was smoking it a ton down there. But consciously smoking it. It's a very, like, the way that they describe it is that the tobacco plant has it's a very powerful plant. And there's, from my understanding, there's even ceremonies that are conducted that are just specifically focused on the tobacco plant. It's a spiritual protector and energy, and that's how they see it, and that's how I saw it too. It was really nice. It was very nice. So the shamans will sit there in the center, they smoke tobacco, and they drink the ayahuasca as well, and they wait, you know, because it takes about 45 minutes or so for most people for this stuff to kick in. So around 45 minutes, all of a sudden you just hear this like subtle, like, and they just kind of, it's like they're just starting to kind of get going. They're warming up, and they all start singing together in the group. They start singing the Iquitos together, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's just like you got the 2 men and the 3 women, and they're all singing in harmony together, but also separate kind of sounding songs, and, you know, baritone and falsetto, and it's all just very like the design of the maloka is very like what's the word I'm looking for? Like attuned or you know, acoustically sounded. It captured the sound very well. It was like a booming, nice, soothing sound. And then after they sing together, they split up, and they go and they sing to each person individually. And like I said before, they view the Iquitos as a healing, spiritual healing song. The Iquitos is the song. They get the information of how to sing this song from the plant. The plant tells them where, you know, how to sing this song and teaches them. And then they take that song and they sing it to us with the intention of healing us for the ailments that we've came there for. Now, all this stuff is before I was going the 2 weeks or whatever before. As I mentioned in the last episode, I was like, what is this shit? You know, like, I don't believe in this like spirit energy stuff. Well, I fucking felt it there. And it was powerful, very powerful. And the first, I think, yeah, as soon as they split off of the group and went to go sing to people individually, I got the first one shaman that came up to me, And I was like, I know who this is. Like, I just knew. It was pitch black, but I just knew. I had some kind of energy, connection, feeling. I was like, I know. This is the same maestra that I was sitting next to, and the one that greeted me, the first one that greeted me when I walked in. And she sang just a really nice, beautiful Iquitos. And it kind of felt like a lullaby almost, like a baby, you know, something that you would sing to like a baby, like a lullaby. But it was very powerful. And so the first ceremony lasted till about maybe 3 a.m. So from like 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. or 3:30 a.m. So it was really just a nice ceremony. It was a good introduction. I felt like, okay, like, you know, I didn't get like a full like sledgehammer to the soul, but I feel like that's coming, you know, like that'll be there. We have 5 ceremonies, so it'll be there. It'll happen. So there was a really nice introduction. So the next day we wake up and we have the regular schedule. We go to the Maestra's Casa for plant remedies. We told them kind of what was ailing us, you know, my neck, my shoulder, my stomach, you know, the things. So they prescribed us like different kind of tonics and elixirs. And we went there and we would get healed by them. And, you know, they would just give us like the next come up and then, okay, Mike here. Okay, turmeric, ginger. Okay, honey. Okay, and then, oh, you got a massage today. So you go get a massage. It was great. So we got a massage and then we had, you know, breakfast after that. Breakfast was great. And then we would do group processing. So we would all meet in the Maloka and we would share our experience of what happened in our first ceremony. And someone opened up and they were great. They shared, you know, beautiful, amazing share. And it was awesome. It was just so cool to see people like sitting around, you know, just like really just putting their ego aside, putting everything aside and just really opening up and just speaking truthfully and honestly about really deep, you know, personal stuff. And we were all just, that's like, you know, that's why I say it was like going to war, you know, we were like soldiers at war. Like we were like bonding over this kind of stuff. We were really with each other. It was great. It was really cool. After we did the group sharing, we would do this thing where we had every day we'd have flower baths. Incredible. We'd all line up and the shamans would bathe us with flower water. They'd pour these giant buckets of flower water all over us with real fresh chopped up flowers in there. It smelled delicious. And so then we would dry. We had to dry off by the sun because you want to keep the flower. And then we would have lunch and then yada, yada, yada. You know, just really just a very nice, peaceful time. And I think there was a yoga class you can go to. People went to the yoga and yoga instructor was amazing. Just a great yoga instructor. And I never do yoga. But I tried, and I thought it was pretty cool, actually. I mean, I don't know if I'll stick with it, but I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, I could do it every now and then, I think. There's a lot to be explored in that realm. So then we took a break. There was a break that day. We didn't have another ceremony. So then the second ceremony was the day after. So this whole time, you know, we're processing, we're sharing. Not only are we processing the stuff that happened to us in the group, but we're processing it like on our own individually. Like we would be at breakfast or at lunch and I'd be, you know, I connected with everybody that was there, but I think there were certain people that I connected with and same thing goes for other people. I think just certain people connected with certain people. So we would sit together at breakfast and at lunch and stuff. And I tried to kind of like mix it up and hang out with everyone because I was really interested in everybody's story. I mean, there were so many phenomenal, just amazing people there. And so we would sit and we would share and we would just talk about like what our, you know, further into our experiences and then what we thought about them and what every person thought about them and stuff like that. And then we would we would go off on tangents from these stories that we were sharing to, and then this one time I had this other experience and it was like this. And, you know, maybe one day I'll do more stories about this stuff because I have a lot of stories about, you know, doing LSD in Thailand and, you know, in the jungle and riding out on a motorcycle and all this kind of cool stuff. So we were telling these stories to each other It was really cool. It was just a good group of people, and everybody felt really like at one with the nature that we were in and everything. It was really peaceful. It was very harmonious, and it was really cool. It was just really fucking cool. And it was something. It was like definitely a once in a lifetime experience for me. I had never been in a situation like that. And I have a tendency to be kind of cynical and kind of negative and just kind of condescending and angry and frustrated. All that kind of like went away. I was just very I wasn't like that when I was there. It was just good conditions to really foster like a positive environment. Like I said before, I mean, I could go into more about how much the temple was just an unbelievable place. Magical place. Anyway, so that day goes and go to bed, and just awesome to sleep in the jungle, just in the dense, deep in the Peruvian Amazon. The sounds of the jungle is just awesome. And I remember someone saying like, oh, yeah, that's right. Some people were talking about like what they were worried about and stuff like that, animals or this or that or snakes or something. And I had, I'm just like, nah, we're pretty protected here. They have a security force that's around the perimeter. I felt pretty safe, pretty protected. But one thing is the doors open inwards. So I remember thinking about that. I was like, oh yeah, the door opens inwards to my tambo. I was like, what if like a jaguar just like jumps on the door, comes into my room and just tears me to shreds? I was like, that's actually a serious concern. They should make those doors open outward. Just saying. Temple. Come on, babe. Come on. What are you doing? Anyway, so that was great. Wake up in the morning, feeling refreshed, ready to go. Ceremony 2. Let's do this. 8 p.m. the next day. In the Maloka. Ready to go. I don't go to drink first. Somebody else goes to drink first. They switch it up every night. I get up there. There's 2 options. There's the glass that we had originally the first night. And then there's a bigger glass. Oh, okay. You're letting it out. We're gonna get to really explore this luminous consciousness. We're really gonna go deep here. So I said, okay, give me that one. I want to go up. I want to go deeper. So they gave me the bigger one, and I went back to my mat, and I waited 45 minutes. Now, this time when it kicked in nicely. Ayahuasca made its presence known. I was loving it. And I learned that it does this. That this is kind of the way. At least for me, this was the way. So the come on would kind of almost like be this kind of rattlesnake noise, like this kind of sound, and then you would hear like. You would see like I would get these intense psychedelic visual patterns, like a kaleidoscope of colors and just this 3-dimensional, virtual space, just moving and geometric patterns and, just like almost like serpentine motions. And I felt maybe a presence there, an eye, eyes, some kind of possibly female, but not really gender specific entity, and just bursting with color, kaleidoscopy, and just amazing. And it's like this dance that ayahuasca does. It like shows you like, look at what I can do. Like, look at what I can create, basically. And it does this cool, crazy, like psychedelic, awesome introduction. And then that kind of subsides. And then the real stuff happens. Then you start getting the visions. Then you start getting the reason why you're there. And then sometimes, for some people, you, turn into an animal. Sometimes for some people, you just become a blue coyote. Yeah. So ceremony number 2, I turned into a blue coyote. And we will continue with this story on the next episode of Mikeadelic. Peace.